Welcome to a quick overview of the Discovery Saver plans. So first things first, the Saver options are also divided into these different categories. They are called the Classic, Classic Delta, Essential, Essential Delta, and Coastal plans. The biggest difference here is that the Classic options cover you for 200% in hospital, and the Essential plans covers you for 100% of hospital cover. Now, to understand what this is 100% doesn't necessarily mean they pay the entire bill. It means that they pay 100% of the agreed rate between Discovery and the hospital or the doctors. If a doctor charges more because he has a better doctor or he's got more experience or for whatever reason, they can charge what we call above scheme rates, and that is above 100%, in other words 200 or more. What we do here is that we can get a gap cover to cover these portions, or you take a plan like the Classic or Classic Delta, which covers you for 200% in hospital cover. The Delta and the Coastal is basically just hospital networks that you can make use of. So the Coastal options are any hospital within the at a coastal area, and then or a coastal province rather, and then the Delta options are a set out list of specific hospitals. If you do not make use of those hospitals, there is a penalty fee payable, and it is important to know that in a life-threatening situation or any PMB conditions that has to be treated, you can actually go to any hospital. So it's important to know that. I'm going to very quickly browse through this brochure and just talk about a few things that I find as important. The brochures are available, so you can download them and read them at your own leisure. You are also more than welcome to chat to any of our financial advisors, and they will assist you with any questions that you may have. It's important to note that this option, or all medical scheme options, do pay chronic medicine for a set of 27 conditions. Those are your more general type of conditions like high blood pressure, cholesterol, and things like that. And then here we get to the important part. So on the Classic plans, you've got a larger savings account. 25% of your premium goes towards your savings, which is where all of your day-to-day expenses are paid from. On the Essential plans, 15% of your premium goes towards savings, so your savings is a little bit smaller. And on the Coastal plans, 20%, so that's somewhere in between. Then in terms of hospital cover, I mentioned it quickly, there are set hospitals. So if you do not have a Delta plan or a Coastal plan, in other words, the Essential Saver or the Classic Saver, you can in fact go to any hospital. And, oh sorry, that one shouldn't have been marked. This one, any hospital. On all of the rest, always make sure that you go to the right hospitals. The Classic plans pay 200%, and the Essential and the Coastal plans pay 100% in hospital. If you are on a 100% option, I would highly recommend taking out a gap cover. These products cover up to 5 or sometimes even 600% when you are in hospital. They also pay your co-payments, your penalty fees. There's a lot of benefits to them. They have benefits for emergency rooms and things like that. So be sure to get in touch and have a good discussion regarding that. You do have cover for emergencies in terms of ambulances and things like that. So you can always make use of that when there's a situation that you've got to deal with. Discovery comes with very nice apps. So this Connected Care app is a nice way that you can get in contact with your doctors. And then your day-to-day benefits. So in terms of day-to-day cover, on these Saver plans, they basically pay everything from your savings account. You do have, depending on your family size and the option that you've chosen, you do have a certain amount of consultations available. These consultations are either electronic or within a network GP. There are also people that are available that you can make use of at pharmacy, like Clicks or Dischem. If you make use of those doctor or those network consultations and they need to refer you to a GP, then you can go to your GP. So always know it's not just normal consultations, it is a little bit different. If you are planning a family, Discovery does provide benefits for antenatal consultations, ultrasounds and screenings, and flu vaccinations, as well as some blood tests. Important here is that there's no benefit for baby immunizations on these plans. So you will have to budget for that. And then your consultations at a midwife or a gynecologist is up to 8 consultations during your pregnancy. I have spoken about this. There is chronic cover on this option. There is also a formulary, so the medicine must be on a set formulary. If it's not, Discovery will approve it according to a random amount. Important, this medicine should always be registered with Discovery, and it should be approved by Discovery. So not all medicine is always covered under this benefit. Discovery has a very comprehensive cancer benefit. They pay for the first 200,000 Rand from the oncology benefit. And then once that has been depleted, you have an unlimited benefit with a 20% copayment. And should you have a gap cover, again, the gap cover can pay that copayment for you. So gap cover, once again, very, very important. All right, remember, if you are on one of the hospital network plans, there are penalties or co-payments that you've got to pay before you go to hospital, and then they are also there for certain day hospitals. So always make sure that you are aware of any co-payments that you might have, and you can always confirm this with Discovery or with your advisor. And if you have a gap cover, once again, those payments are covered, which can save you a lot of expenses when it comes to, can save you a lot of expenses out of your own pocket. So Discovery does have agreements with certain specialists, which they will pay in full. And if you see a specialist that they do not have an agreement with, they will pay up to the rate, either 200 or 100%. Again, if you have a gap cover, this doesn't matter because the gap cover will cover the surplus, what's set out above that. MRI scans and CT scans are covered. Just know that there's a co-payment as well. Again, your gap cover will cover that for you, so that's very important. And then with scopes, there are also co-payments. Again, the gap cover will also pay for that. Very important to take note of it. And then in terms of an annual limit, these plans are basically unlimited. So you don't have a specific limit. Your in-hospital treatment can go up to 5 million or even more. But it's very important to know, especially for internal prostheses like cochlear implants, internal nerve stimulators, major joints, there are what we call sub-limits. And those sub-limits are it's an amount that's set out for you to use for the prosthesis only. And if you use a prosthesis that's more expensive than what the sub-limits provide for, you will again be out of pocket and you'll have to pay the difference. Like I've said before, gap cover, I cannot tell you guys how important it is to have a good gap cover. If you have a gap cover, those limits can be claimed from your gap cover. Just always make sure that you have the correct gap cover. You do have cheaper gap covers that don't pay for things like sub-limits and oncology and things like that. There's also in-hospital co-payments for dental procedures. This is very important when it comes to wisdom teeth and things like that. So many schemes actually exclude in-hospital dentistry, or they only pay it partially. Discovery has a very good benefit, and you just have to pay this co-payment, and the co-payment again can be claimed back from, you guessed it, the gap cover. These brochures are also clickable, so once you've downloaded, it's very easy to go through and you can just click where you want to be. I have mentioned this, the co-payments on day surgeries, so that's an important thing to take note of. And that's the biggest part of what we can discuss on this option. One of my favorite options, and don't take this as any form of advice, always first speak to a healthcare advisor, but a very good option is this Essential Delta Saver. It's not too expensive. and it doesn't have a lot of exclusions. It pays chronic medicine, it pays joint replacements, it's got good cancer cover. It does have a network hospital because of the Delta portion in it, but if you add a good gap cover towards that option, it's not too expensive and you're really covered very comprehensively. Just be sure to check how much out of hospital benefits you need on these plans. You work with a savings account. So if we look at the Essential Delta Saver, these are the benefits that you will have: 3,700 Rand for a 12-month period. For a principal member, 2,800 for an adult member, and 1,500 for a child. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please get into touch with us.